probably up here. It is up here. Stephen, here's the yurt side. Yeah, yurt side and do my announcements.
You're over there? Or
No, I'm here. That's yours. At least we'll have 10 when Ricky gets here.
Did I tell you about the greatest escargot we had?
Yes, you did. I forgot the name of the restaurant. You did tell me.
You know where Agnes Continental is on Blanca?
How far down breakfast is it towards?
It's right, it's about a block or so past Christie.
Okay, I know where Christmas is.
Huh?
I definitely know where Christmas is.
It's right past there.
Okay.
Thank you for Tuesday night. You sang beautifully.
Oh my gosh, it's Tuesday. Hey.
I know. I saw you walking. Oh, is that maybe? Because one walk is enough. She ain't gonna walk? Hey, listen, don't walk. We'll all stand up for her.
Good Shabbos,
Get close.
Good. My dad and Javi are on their way.
Say the slice though. 2, 3, well.
Actually, organize this for the
I'm going to say it again when I get up here. When we do the lights, I would invite whatever women want to come join us. We will bring them out and join us. I'm pretty short, but I'm still in the light.
my sunglasses. Well, then go to over there. Yeah, what's the difference?
I don't know.
Jeffrey was over there when he was.
Didn't you know in the Mishnah it said it had to be on the left side? I'm kidding.
It's always to the left, never to the right.
We want all our friends to be close, but Phil can come too. He didn't hear me. Tell me when you want to start.
Whenever, I think it's after 6, so.
Come close. I would always come in the chapel and look to the front left to see the nestels. Y'all ready? I've been asked if somebody said, well, can I sit on the beam? And I said, I don't care. Doesn't bother me. She's giving me a dirty look. She's already giving me a dirty look.
Take your mask off.
Well, part of it is I've had dental surgery, so bear with me. No, I was covering up my dental surgery. We ready? Did you notice there's always one person that schleps in late? Did you notice that? Ready? Are we ready? Echabdir. Are you ready? All right, Shabbat Shalom. For those that don't know me, my name is Stephen Gross. There's a group of us that are handling services for the 2 month before Rabbi Bear comes, and we're going to do the best we can. But the most important thing we want to let you know is we're not rabbis, we're not cantors, and we want the service to be for all of us. We want y'all to sing every song. We want you to ask questions. And if you have any complaints about how I do my small portion of the service, yes, Phil? What did he say? And if you have any complaints about Phil, please put it in the synagogue bulletin. I will be doing services every other week. And if you have any complaints about how the service is going, come up to me after the service, and I'll give it to the person who's coming here next week. And by the way, Arlene has worked real hard over the time she's been here in picking tunes for the various prayers that are interactive. But more importantly, she doesn't want to just sing. She wants y'all to sing with us. And Ricky has asked me to tell you before I start that when she's doing the Devar tonight, when she does the Devar, if you have any questions or comments or complaints, to raise your hand and let her hear it, particularly the complaints.
Yeah, she'll say next.
With that understanding, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to start with a Nagun, Arlene.
Yep, we are. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la
please turn to page 5 for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vo'echem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zetchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
As many women as would like, please come over with Arlene as we symbolically light the candles.
Yes.
They're symbolically lit. Okay. Anybody else? I'm sorry.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner v'tzivanu lahadlik ner v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
If y'all would please be seated. We invited all the women to come up for the thing, but when we get to the Kiddush, you can come up since you missed it, okay? My old Torah study buddy. If y'all would please turn to page 11 for Hula Naranana.
Lechu niranena, lechu niranena, lechu niranena, l'Adonai. Lechu niranena, lechu niranena, lechu niranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, lesui shenu nekadma fana b'toda. Naria, naria, letsui shenu, bizbiro, naria lo. Lechu niranena, lechu niranena, lechu niranena, l'Adonai. Lechu niranena, lechu niranena, lechu niranena, l'Adonai. Lechu niranena, lechu niranena, lechu niranena, l'Adonai. Lechu I'm going to ask you guys all to please sing with me. Last week I was at the Cantors, the ACC convention in Chicago, and all the ruach, all the spirit that was there. And then this week there was the women cantors and all the spirit. So I want you guys to be my spirit because it really helps me.
I asked. I told them that they needed to join you. Is it me? Is it you? I don't know. If you would turn to page 18, please. The second line in the Hebrew, Zamru Ladonai, singing to God.
Zamru Ladonai Bechino v'ko zimra b'chatzotrot v'ko shofar hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai Zamru Ladonai v'chino v'ko zimra b'chatzotrot v'ko shofar hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai yiram hayam u'melo tevel ve'yoshveva Neharot yimchau chav yakad hadim yiranenu yiram hayam u'melo tevel ve'yoshveva Neharot yimchau Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel betzedek ve'amim b'me'esharim yiram hayam u'melo tevel ve'yoshveva neharot yimachau chad yakad arim yiranenu.
I'm sure y'all have noticed by now that we've had wonderful accompaniment with the piano and the drums. The reason I'm mentioning it right now is because the prayer you just sang talked about the fact that in traditional worship, they were joined along with horns and shofar cries and trumpets. So what we're doing now is as traditional as the first and second temple.
Absolutely.
If you would please turn to page 20.
20.
Is that right?
That
20
is correct.
for Romamu.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lahakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lahakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lahakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lahakodsho.
Please rise. Turn to page 21 for Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod v'aoz, havu l'Adonai v'od shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai hadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod hiri, Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai b'koach, kol Adonai b'hadam, kol Adonai shover arazim, v'shaber Adonai et arzei hafanot, v'yakidem k'mo egel Livanon v'Sirion k'mo v'nremi ma'yaya, kol Adonai hotzi la'avodesh, kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai cholel hayalot, vayechtesof Yaron uv'hechalo kulo omer kavod, Adonai lama buya hashav yeshiv, Adonai melech le'olam, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
Please be seated. If you would turn to page 23, we'll be doing Lahado D. It'll be 23, 24, and 25.
The first two verses on page 23, the middle verse on page 24, and the last verse on page 25. And when we sing the last verse, we rise and face the back by the doors to welcome the Sabbath bride. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pinei Shabbat Nikabela Shamor v'Zachor b'dibur echad Hishmianu El HaMeyuchad Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad L'Shem Ultiferet Ve'elitila Le'echad Dodi Likrat Kala Pinei Shabbat Nikabela Likrat Shabbat Lachu v'nelcha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh v'machshava tchila lecha dodi likrat kala pinei page 24.
24.
Hitorari, kiva orech, kumiori, uri, shir de be'eri, kivod Adonai, alayich nikla lecha dodi, likrat kala, Pinei Shabbat Nikavela. Please rise and turn to page 25. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam b'simcha uv'tzola toch emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala pinei Shabbat nikabela.
Please turn to page 27 for Mizmor Shir. Right?
That's correct. Mizmor Shir liyom haShabbat tov lehodot lahadonai ulizamer l'shimcha elyon ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor Shir liyom haShabbat tov lehodot lahadonai ulizamer l'shimcha elyon ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Lahagid baboker chastecha v'emunatcha balelot alei asaf ve'alei navel alei higayon v'chinor. Mizmor Shir liyom haShabbat tov lehodot lahadonai ulizamer l'shimcha elyon ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor Shir liyom haShabbat tov lehodot lahadonai ulizamer l'shimcha elyon ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Ki simchtani Adonai b'foalecha b'maaseh yadecha aranein ma gadlu maasecha Adonai me'od amku machshevotecha. Mizmor Shir liyom haShabbat tov lehodot lahadonai ulizamer l'shimcha elyon ulizamer l'shimcha elyon ulizamer l'shimcha elyon ulizamer l'shimcha elyon.
Please turn to page 28 for Tzadik Katamar.
Tzadik Katamar yifrach ke'erez bavanon yizkeh shetu Hatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu O Genuvun Beseva Deshenim Vera'ananim Yiyu Lahagi Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri the Lord of Latavon. Erotecha ne'emunu me'od levetcha nahava kodesh Adonai la'orech yamim.
So his spouse is coming in. I was just pointing it out. We're going to call Rabbi Ricky up for the Devar.
I'm just going to do
You're gonna do the
quick
Devar?
mourner's Kaddish. I'm just going to do the quick mourner's Kaddish now for the first one. And then
Good,
we'll
'cause I
do
wasn't
the
gonna do
full
it.
mourner's Kaddish at the end as well. But traditionally, we'll do a mourner's Kaddish here, and then we'll go to our Devar Torah. So if y'all will turn to page 30. Kaddish Yatom, mourner's Kaddish, all those who are observing Yortzeit, and those who are in mourning may rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, b'yalma divra kiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulamei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Thank you.
In a minute, I'm going to have Rabbi Ricky give the Devar, but if I could make just a point of personal privilege. Back in the dinosaur days, pre-COVID, we would remember going in on the chapel every Friday night and seeing the different people in the different seats. And it was almost as if a lot of them had engraved in a section of the seats their names. So that front left, or stage left, was the Nestel row, or rows. So it's so good to see the Nestels back again, because we would walk in and go, where are the Nestels? Where are the Nestels? Where's Garrett? So please, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom. I am so glad to see hundreds and hundreds of people here. All of you out there, live stream, you're missing out by watching us from home, because we have Ruach here and we have wonderful people sitting here. Thank you. You can come tomorrow morning too. I just want to tell you about this Parsha, this Shabbat, Beha'alotcha. There's so many subjects in this Parsha, and it's kind of hard to decide which one to talk about. But you will see, I always like to talk about the juiciest piece of the Torah. So I'm coming to it. But first I'm going to let you know that at this Parsha, Moshe complains to God because the Israelites are so difficult. They complain about everything. Moses, I know what you're going through. Although we're not in a desert, it is hot in San Antonio, just like in the Sinai desert. And the Israelites complain. God gives them manna. They eat it. But they are bored with that. And do you know that Rashi, the commentator to the Torah, said the manna was magical. If you picked it up and you thought about honey cake, the manna would taste like honey cake. If you wanted it to taste like anything, it becomes it. All you had to do is just think about the food you wanted, and it tastes like that. Well, that was not good enough for the Israelites. They said, what is this? You brought us here to the desert to eat this day after day? We want meat. So Moses is getting like, what do I do? He called God and said, what is this? They keep on complaining. Nothing is good enough for them. Of course, God sends the quail so they can eat the quail. By the way, quail is so good. If you ever want to taste the best quail in San Antonio, I know where it is. Ask me later. Great restaurant, and it's kosher. Quail is kosher. You can eat it. So it's upsetting to God, and it's upsetting to to Moses that they keep on complaining. So God says to Moses, listen, take yourself 70 people, and you and your spirit is going to be above the 70 people, and it's going to sort of infect them in a good way. They will have your wisdom, and they will help you lead the Israelites with all of their complaints, because they used to come to Moses for everything. These two people, for example, would complain. They would go to Moses, and these two would complain. And Moses just worked 24 hours a day, and it wasn't enough. He said, get yourself 70 people, empower them, and they will help you lead these people. It's just like, synagogue. We have board of trustees. We don't have 70, but we have pretty close to it, I think. It's a very large board of trustees. They all have different jobs. It makes it easier to lead the Israelites.
We have an administrator who complains to the higher up too.
Yes, and we have all kind of complaint coming there. You're right. So, but the beauty of the Parsha that it teaches us, when you have a candle that lights up the dark, if you take this candle and you light 70 more candles with it, there is more lights, and yet it doesn't take away from the light of the first candle that started it, right? So the more the merrier. When you give to other people, you empower other people to help. It's not going to take away from you. It just helps the group. But that's not what I want to talk about. This is just for you to tell you what's in the Parsha. What I want to talk about is much juicier. Yes, it is juicier. In this Parsha, God is telling us that Moses is the most humble man ever to exist. And our sages say to us that since all time, we will never have in the future and never had in the past anyone was so humble. Because Moses, he didn't just dream about God or hear God. He was the only one in our entire Torah that the communication with God was face to face. It says that God spoke to Moses mouth to mouth. You probably say, how could it be mouth to mouth? When I speak to somebody, I go mouth to ear, right? But no, the reason why it says mouth to mouth, because let's say that I said something to Howie Nastel. I said it to him in his ear. From his ear, it went to his mind. He's thinking about what I'm saying. Then his heart is deciding, can I relate to it? If yes, it goes from his mind to his heart, and then it goes back to his mouth to tell Tirza, his sister. Do you know, Rabbi Ricky told me so-and-so, it made sense logically, I'm really passionate about what she said, and I want you to learn about too. But from the ear to the mind, to the heart, to the mouth, this is a very long way, and something from the message, sometimes we are human, it can change. And by the time, how he's telling Tirza, some of the message was changed, but not when God spoke to Moses. He spoke to him mouth to mouth. Whatever came from God's mouth, that's what we heard from mouth of Moses. Because otherwise, we couldn't take Moses' words as if they were the words of God. But we can, because it was the same words. But that's not what I want to talk to you about tonight. I'm sorry. This is for you just to learn what's in the Parsha. What I want to talk to you about is what the sister Miriam and her brother Aaron, between them, what they talked about Moses. God is not happy with this. Miriam said to Aaron, look how our brother Moses behaved, as if he is the only one that God speaks to him and not to us. And besides, she said something not so pleasant about the wife of Moses. He said, look, his wife, the Cushite woman. And the translator, the interpreters of the Torah says the Cushite woman. What did she mean? Did she mean the woman who came from Cush, because it's a name of a place? Was she talking about the fact that she had darker skin? Was she making a racist remark? God is not happy with this, and he says Miriam must be punished. And she was punished with a terrible leprosy, and she had to be excommunicated until she healed. But I'll tell you what upsets me a little bit about the Torah portion. And thank God, Judaism allowing me and you to sometime kind of argue with the text in the Torah. It says, Aaron and Miriam stood and she spoke. Wait. Something in the grammar doesn't agree. Miriam and Aaron were together. And she spoke? Why doesn't it say Miriam and Aaron were together and they spoke? He was in it. But it says she spoke. So the commentators say maybe she was the one who instigated. Sometimes women, we are wired this way, and sometimes we gossip, not a lot, but sometimes we do. So that's why she got the punishment. Something happened to Aaron? No, nothing happened to him. Only to Miriam, only to the sister. She got sick, she got punished. And ladies and gentlemen, we don't hear about Miriam at all for the rest of this time until we find out pretty much when she passed away. Is this a warning for women? Don't talk. Look what happened to Miriam. I mean, yeah, it upsets me a little bit. But what I'm here to say to you, it wasn't nice what she said. They shouldn't have gossiped. Moses was the leader. If their own brother and sisters start talking badly about the brother, that's not just the brother. His position is the leadership. As it is, the Israelites are such complainers and they're so difficult to control. The last thing that God wanted is that other people are going to continue to gossip about Moses and he's going to lose his leadership. So that's why there was a big punishment for Miriam. But what I'm here to do is to remind you that the same Miriam who said a few words of gossip, who spoke a little bit badly about the leader, she is the same woman who, when she was a young girl, she risked her life to save Moses, to be next to his basket on the Nile River. We need to remember all the good things. And what does it teach us? When you hear from somebody says something bad about, let's say about me, okay? I know nobody says anything bad about me, but let's say that somebody says a word about me. You need to say, maybe this is true, but what about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things? What about the good things? Always when you hear someone says bad about somebody, says, I don't know if this is true or not, but let's go over all the good things this person is doing. If we do that, we're never going to get any leprosy. We're going to be fine. So my prayer tonight for all of us, not to gossip, but if we hear gossip, to be the first one to say, yeah, but this person also did something wonderful. Let's talk about that. And may we have a wonderful, sweet Shabbat. Amen. Thank you.
One of the good things about doing the Devar and then the next day doing the Torah study is we discuss and study the same portion. So after the Kiddush luncheon tomorrow, I'll be leading the Torah study on the same section. And there'll be an interesting part for those of you who come. The question is, what happens if in one of the 3 most important holidays, Passover, you can't be there or you're disqualified for being there? What's your do-over? This portion discusses it, but I'm not going to discuss it now. You got to come to Torah study. And then we'll also discuss at that time the major holiday, or at least a holiday major for us, that is really a totally do-over holiday. Because the Israelites couldn't celebrate a different holiday because they're in the middle of a war and they had a new holiday that they had to make up for it. But you can wait till tomorrow. And if you really get me going, I'll tell you what I really think about Aaron. But in any event...
I heard.
Yes, back there she heard. If y'all would please rise for the Baruch Hu.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Uma'avir yom u'mevi laila, uma'avdil ben yom u'vein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, temid yimlok aleinu, le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim.
If you would please be seated and turn to page 40 for Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu V'shakveinu v'kumenu Nasiach bechukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע ימם ולילה. יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולם עמה. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשיטתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
Please turn to page 44 for the Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע הים לפני משה. זה אלי, זה אלי, ענו ואמרו. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע הים לפני משה. זה אלי, זה אלי, ענו ואמרו. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, no rod tehilot, oh say fella, oh say fella, oh say fella. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We're just going to sing the Hashkivenu. If you would turn to page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmot tzedkeinu ufoenu l'chaim shalom me'atavi adolam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
If y'all would please rise, turn to page 46 for the Vishamru, and immediately thereafter, if you're still rising, we'll do the Chatzi Kaddish.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shofat vayinafash, shofat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלמו עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה שמי דקודשה לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירון ועלמא ויאמרו amen.
If y'all would please turn to page 47 for the silent Amidah, 47 through 51 when you're through. Please be seated.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. 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 Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם תשים לעולם תשים לעולם.
In a second, we'll be doing the Misha Bayrock. These are the names that the synagogue has received: Alan Waghalter, Art Donaldson, Barbara Argo, Carson Moser, Charlie Pruitt, Daniela Valdez Vasquez, Sophie Handler, Eileen Mirren, Elna King, Gary Rosenthal, Joseph Godovan, Jill Testa, Carol Bloom Rumsey, Kimberly Lang, Lucy Jean Horowitz, Luke Morse, Maria Beck, Marion Braun, Mark Hermelin, Mary Young, Phil Zipkin Day, Robin Keller, Rosario Vasquez, Sarah Ibata, Sharon Abelo, Sharon Hermelin. Does anybody need to add any more names? Please do. Anyone else? We're ready. I'm sorry. Anybody else? Going. Did I miss someone else? Who? I'm sorry, who? Ellen Sherman, okay.
Mi sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
If you would turn to page 54 and rise for Kaddish Shalem, and you can continue to stand. The next will be doing the Kiddush over the wine, and then the Elena.
Yitgadal v'yitkadosh shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach hiruteh, v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedeko beit Yisrael, b'gala u'v'zman kariv v'yimaru.
Amen.
Yahesh me Rabbah mevarah, le'alam oal me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'tromam v'yihidna'aseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha. Brichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yamavimaru.
Amen.
Titkabal solotahon v'utahon dechol Yisrael, Kadamu v'hon v'yishmaya v'imaru.
Amen.
Yahei shlama rabamim shmaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'ramav. Uyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imaru. Amen.
If you would turn to page 55 for the Kiddush, I'd like to be joined up here by all the men who are over 60. All the men over 60. Not yet. Let them get up here. People over 60 take longer.
74.
Okay, now
74.
they've asked that they be joined by people under 52. Under 60.
Under 60.
Under 62.
So now you can come, Bert. Yeah, now you can come.
Good to see you. It's
Absolutely, come on up. Gesundheit. Hey.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zicharon lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר לציית מצרים, קיוונו בחרת, ואתנו קידשת, מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן לחיים.
Gesundheit. Sei gesund. Apparently it was modified by all men over 60, all men under 60, and women who are pains in the tuchus were to join too. Yasher Koa. It's all you, Arlene. You can do the mourners.
That's okay.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו בגויי הרצון, ולא שם לנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה,
אנחנו קוראים, משתקמים ומודים, לפני
מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו, ושכינתו זו, בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום והשבבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. In a minute, we're going to do the mourner's Kaddish, the names that the synagogue has received. First of all, we
Steve, I'll
condole.
cover this part. I was going to do the shloshim first.
I have the
go
names
ahead.
here,
Go ahead.
unless you want to do it.
It's okay.
Okay. Condolences to Philip Siegel, the father of Jeff, on Philip Siegel, the father of Jeff Siegel, Faye Swidler, mother of Bonnie Scott and grandmother of Michael Scott, and for Shloshim, Jeannie Rudd, wife of Harvey Rudd, and Miriam Grossman. Yard sites for the week are David B. Anderson, Daniel Berg, David Berkowitz, Vida Brenman, Leon Cossack, Barbara Doms, Lindy Demeshki, I don't want to get that wrong, Sadie Friedman, Jeannie Gutzen, Pearl Gosson, Etta Gross, Beatrice Kerman, Donald Kurtman, Merle Friedman Polunsky, Natalie Schwartz, Peter Sarche, Jules Singer, Abe Solomon, Babette Weinstein, Joseph Weiss, Cornelia Weiss, Bonnie Wiederman, and Jack Williams.
Awesome. Thank you. All those who are observing your site or in mourning may rise for Kaddish Yatom on page 58. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra kiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam ulamei almaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated. Thank you.
In a minute, we're going to do the final song, but before we do, the three of us, Ricky, Arlene, and I want to thank you for your kind attention. We hope it's been a warm and rewarding experience. We thank Anthony, and we thank our percussionist, Michael Hardy, my longtime running buddy. But Michael, I do have a question. How can you come every Friday night and get here on time and never make it on time for lunch?
We're going to close with Yigdal.
I can just give a couple of additional announcements.
More announcements.
Very quickly. First of all, Steve, thank you for leading us. Arlene, thank you. Ricky, Yasha Koach, beautiful Davar, Leah, and Jessica, thank you for preparing the Kiddush, or for our oneg, I should say, as well as for giving us everything we need to succeed. Thank you all for being here. Shabbat Shalom. And a couple of announcements. I'm not going to go in detail. We've heard it before. Sisterhood Rummage Sale. My wife will get mad at me. But Sisterhood Rummage Sale will begin accepting items on Tuesdays in the Gorinsky Social Hall, 9 to 12, or the drop-off shed. Questions, call Karen Landis or Shelley Barons. IPRS registration is now open. Early bird end on June 26th. Contact Jessica for more enrollment information. HPS registration. The first day of school at Heinz Preschool is August 15th. It's quickly approaching. So we're now enrolling for ages 6 weeks to 5 years old. For more information, contact April Smith. Book of Remembrance, again, for High Holidays, which will mark the new year. So we're accepting more information for the upcoming year for Yisker throughout the year. Please contact Jessica in the office again for more information, or to put in your sheets for the booklet for next year. 8th Annual Texas Kosher Barbecue Championship. It's back, finally.
Did you notice
6th
my wife is
November.
leaving me?
6th November. Uh-oh.
My wife just abandoned me.
It was me. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. Let's go. I'm sorry. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Bye, Mickey.
All right, wait, Stephen wants to say something first.
I have one more thing to say. Phil just mentioned it, but there's some really yummy food out there for the oneg. Please join us. Fress and schmooze to your heart's content. Bye, Mickey.
All right. Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach nimsa ve'ein edel mitziuto echad ve'ein yachid ki yichudo nelam v'gam ein sof le'achduto en lo demud haguf ve'ein no guf lo na'arach elav kedushato kadman lechol davar asher nivra rishon ve'ein reshit le'reshito hino adon olam ve'chol no tzar yoreh gedulato u'malchuto shefan nevuato netano el anshe segulato v'tifarto lo kam be'Yisrael kemo she'od navi u'mahabit et emunato torat emet natan le'ano el al yad navi oneman beito lo yachalif ha'el ve'lo yamir dato le'olamim zulato so fevio dea satarenu mabit nusof davar bikadmato gomer la'ish chesed k'mifalo noten lirasha rakarishato yishlach l'ketz yamim mishichenu livnot mecheketz v'shu'ato meitim yechayel v'rof chasto baruch adei ad shem tehilato meitim yechayel v'rof chasto baruch adei ad shem tehilato. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
it's going to be hard to do that. Bass makes a lot of sense. Bass, you practice with the bass, get the bass as a rhythm instrument, and then we're part of a team that helps her sing, helps them sing. That's what we're doing. But anything that's in the vocal range, you have to be really careful with that. I mean, when we had that special service, I mean, I think it makes sense for like a special service. We had the sax here, you remember?
I remember very well. It was beautiful.
That was like a special service, you know. We had to bring that up.
We're gonna eat something?
Oh, yes. But I mean, at the same time, it's great to have, it's great for the congregation to see like participation from other people. That's a good thing. But it has to kind of complement what we're doing.
Makes sense to me. Of course, it should fit in. You doing okay tonight?
Yeah.
You did very well, sir.
Did y'all go? Yeah. That was good. Well,
Cool.
it was good to see the cells. I haven't seen them in a long time.
Always in the front left.
Yeah. Oh, I remember in the chapel, they took the first 2 rows, like you said.
Left.
Yeah.
We were on the 3rd row, and Garrett was here, and there was a woman that was there. One lady,
Yeah.
she was 5 rows on the other side.
Right.
It was hidden daddy.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, other than having the actual sheets, there's like 2 or 3 songs that are actually, the rest is just I gave her my heart.
Yeah.
And my daughter, all my music just moved away. I have this card, I guess I should probably let's coordinate the response. Because honestly, it needs to be, I think it needs to be a special thing. Because, I mean, if people want to express, it's also just pretty. I mean, and not everybody's going to be able to play and not going to play.
Well, that's it.